Hello everybody. Now in this video I'm going to be talking to you about what you can do to overcome shiny object syndrome. Now if you're listening to this by MP3, I'm going to suggest that you take some notes. Taking notes is actually probably the best way for you to get the information and actually do something with it. And even if you're watching this video, I would suggest that you get the download, listen to it, and then really apply it, take notes for yourself, and then decide on what is important. Now we're going to get into this it's really more of a phrase than anything else. It's called shiny object syndrome. If you've been involved in internet marketing any length of time, you know that basically what shiny object syndrome is, it means that you're buying so much stuff that it's getting in the way of you profiting. That's the short version. I mean, you can just define it a number of different ways, but that's basically what we are talking about. So whether or not you're buying software, whether or not you're buying courses, whether or not you're buying additional products, whatever it is that you're buying, if it's getting in the way of you actually getting something up for sale because it either shifts your minds or shifts your focus, then this is really what we're calling shiny object syndrome. So what do you need to do about it? Well, that's really what we want about this video. Now, one of the things that I really kind of want to focus on here is that it's really not as bad as you might think, and I'm going to explain to you why here in a minute. First of all, the other thing is that you're not alone in this. Most marketers either go through it or are in it, and it really depends on where you are in your marketing business. Now, if you have not yet made your first dime yet online, it's a problem. And you want to make sure that it doesn't overwhelm or overcome you, so that you don't miss what you're involved in internet marketing for. Now, here's why it's not as big a problem as you might think. And we know that information products are fairly inexpensive when you compare them to the cost of making a real investment in a brick and mortar business, trying to get shelves, trying to get inventory and all these other things, and office space. Information products are fairly cheap. If all you've got to have is a laptop and you've got some other stuff in order to run your business, you're still doing pretty well. There's still the chance that you're going to have a high return on whatever you invest in. And that's not really going to hurt you over time. Now, here's where the problem comes in. And most of you all who are watching this video, you're probably PLR buyers and you want to make money with your PLR. And so when it gets in the way of you taking that PLR and actually turning it into cash, turning it into a membership types, turning it into money, then that's when buying new things becomes a problem. I'm going to help you overcome that in a couple of steps. This is going to be the first step here in this video. Now, this is also going to be related to some other things that I'm going to talk about. In particular, how do you start your marketing business? This is definitely related because some of us, we're at that point, we're at the beginning, we're trying to figure out how and where do I start my marketing business? And if that's the case, if that's where you are, then you are going to want to really get a handle on this, because it's really going to help you to push forward in some areas that maybe you haven't. And the other thing that's related to is information overload. And I got some part of a survey that I did. Some of the folks said, you know what, I really want to know, how can I overcome information overload? This is related, and I'm actually going to cover that in another series of videos, but I really want to focus on how do you overcome this one step of buying things that maybe impede your ability to make money. Now, here's how you overcome shiny object syndrome. Here's the number one thing that you have to do. I call this part one, and I'm calling this build your business first. I'm going to tell you why that's important, and here's why. If you're in internet marketing, more than likely you have a limited amount of money or capital to invest in the business. And if you didn't have that, then you probably would not be doing, you would probably not be marketing online. You would probably be doing something else with your money in terms of investment. But if you have a limited amount of capital that you can put into internet marketing, that's really why this whole concept of building your business first before you buy new products, new keyword tools, new software, new courses, before you really start doing that, you want to make sure that you're building your business. I'm going to tell you what that means here in a minute. Now, when I say building your business, you don't want to buy so many products that you fail what you get to need, you fail to get what you need to succeed. In other words, you are a PLR buyer. You have private label rights products, resale rights products on your hard drive. that's not going to be enough to turn it into cash. It's not going to necessarily be enough in and of itself. You are going to need some things that you have in your business. Now, yeah, a lot of the products that you buy are going to be push button. That means they are ready to go, but you've got to be able to build your business around these things. PLR is like raw material, right? It's like good raw material. You got to have it in your factory, but your factory's got to have certain things in order to turn it into money. And that's what I'm really going to be talking about. Building your business first. How do you build that factory that you can turn that raw material into something that's really going to make money? Now, what I want you to do while I talk to you about this, you're listening, if you're watching, take a step back from your business. I want you to look at the things that you have run into, things that may have kept you from actually moving forward in your business. In other words, when you get ready, let's say you say, you know what, tonight's the night, or this week is the week, I'm going to get my business running. And what typically happens is we run into a roadblock, sometimes because we don't know what to do, but other times it's because we have to often buy something else in order to put the whole thing together. And so what I want you to do is to take a step back from your business. I want you to think about all the instances where there was something that got in your way from moving forward, because I want to talk about that here in this video. Now, most of the things that information products that are being sold, and here's something that you want to think about. Now, we want to talk about this in a separate video, but you have to understand that when you buy an information product or a piece of software, most of the time you are buying something that's going to keep you in the self-employed quadrant. If you've read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know he talks about the business quadrant, self-employed quadrant, the employed quadrant, and then the investor quadrant. And so self-employed is where you basically, you have bought yourself a job, you're doing everything. And so if you're buying products that are going to cause you to do more in order to affect your profit, that may or may not necessarily be a good investment depending on what you already have in place. If you already have your factory in place, then the best thing that you could be doing and buying is what you have right now, which is private label rights content, resale rights content, and all those things. And I'm not trying to convince you to buy more. What I'm saying to you is that you need to make sure your factory is built, and you want to make sure your factory is getting ready to run itself. Okay, you don't want to buy more things where you are going to have to run your factory. You want to cause and start building your business so that your factory, even if it's information marketing, internet marketing, it's going to run yourself. You need to be thinking about building streams of income that run themselves. Right, and as you do that, then you'll start to buy differently. But we need to get deeper into this to understand this concept. The other thing I want you to kind of understand about buying for your business, and you know this, most of the time you might go and you might see something as minor as a notebook or a stapler, and you see that when it's on a business list, that it almost seems as if you're in business, you're going to pay more for a stapler or more for your, more for your notebooks and all those other things. And I'm going to tell you why that is. Businesses typically pay more. They typically pay the going rate, and when they pay for it, they want it to work. And that's why we don't really fuss a lot about whether or not something's coming out in a launch or whether or not something is on sale. What you want to do is you want to get what you need for your business in order for it to work. The purpose of buying is not to have it because it's on sale, it's for it to work. Now, you want to be buying solutions that you know are going to work, and then start buying the other stuff. Right? And this is really key in understanding whether or not the purchase you're about to make is really going to impact your business. Are you buying something that is a solution that's going to make your factory work in order to turn that PLR into cash, or are you buying something just because it's on sale? Right? You need to start thinking about buying things that are going to work for your business, not necessarily because it's on sale, but because it works, because you can get a hold of support when you got a problem, because you can count on them having uptime, because you can count on things like the deliverability. You want to buy just as if you'd be in any business. You want to buy reliable tools, not things necessarily that are on sale, not things that are just you're buying it just because it's going to save you money. That's a wrong mentality. And if you're just buying because it's going to save you money, that's almost the kind of mentality that you're kind of focused on saving money as opposed to making money. So now I'm going to tell you why this really matters. Now, when you're not building your business and you're buying things that are going to set you back, it's not a matter of you losing money. Like I said, information products are cheap. They don't cost a lot of money. It's the time that it's taking. It's the time that you take to study this new course. It's the time that you take away from something that you were working on. It's the time that you take that you could have been putting into learning something that will help you overcome a hurdle. It's the time that you take that in order to set yourself apart, in order to become unique in your marketplace. All of those things that really matter in terms of building a business. When you take time for a new learning something new, even if it's really cool, and even if it's really profitable for the person that's selling it to you, even if it could be profitable for you, when you take time away from your path, sometimes it's not that you spent the money, it's that it takes your focus away from where you're going to build your business. Now, I want to talk about this in this context because I've been talking about this factory and how you're going to overcome shiny object syndrome. And one of the things that I want to encourage you to do is to make sure you have these things in place before you start buying other things. Because I know remember we said you've got a limited amount of money. You've got a limited amount of money. You want to spend that money making sure you're ready to make money. So if you don't spend money on a new method, don't spend money on a new fancy shiny keyword tool. There are some things that you got to have in your business before you start buying those things, before you start buying the extra things, before you start buying the loopholes. You've got to make sure that you've got the right things in place, because what will happen is you'll see an opportunity, and if you don't have these things in place that I'm about to share with you, you're going to miss the opportunity. Now, you've got to have an autoresponder. If you don't have an autoresponder, that's the number one thing. If you don't have one in place, in an online business, you have to build it. You have to build a list, right? You've got to have a way of contacting people. You've got to build up your following so that if you're ever going to have a business that's going to run on autopilot, or a business that's going to be an income stream that doesn't require you to be there, right? Because we're talking about leverage. We're talking about moving out of the self-employed quadrant and into the business owner quadrant, moving out of the employed quadrant and into the business owner quadrant so that you don't have to be there to run everything. You have to have a list. You have to have an autoresponder. It needs to be reliable and it needs to deliver. You don't want to buy an autoresponder, and this is going to be my opinion here, folks, from my experience. Get something that's reliable. Get something that's going to be there tomorrow. Get there that when you got a problem, you're going to be able to get a hold of support. You don't want to get something that you are working out the bugs in it, right? Not with an autoresponder. You can do that with a whole lot of other things, but you don't want to be the one working out the bugs in an autoresponder, because you're going to save $20 a month, because you're going to save $40 a month. Listen, the money you're saving, right? Understand something. If you're saving $240 because you're not buying an autoresponder, then this is the wrong business, right? Get something that is reliable, get something that works, and get something that you can call support if there is a problem. Autoresponder, minimum. Listen, I know we're all in different businesses. We are all in different niches. But if you are an internet marketer, you are going to have to do video. You're going to have to do the ones just as I'm doing them right now. And you need to get Camtasia or ScreenFlow. I know that there are lots of other solutions out there, and I'm not pushing it. I don't even have any affiliate links in here for you to go buy it. I'm telling you that you need to get a reliable solution, and one that does everything, and one that does the stuff you needed to do, and without trying to learn, lots of, this program, it's free, and you don't have to buy it. And that's not the point of this. You need to have tools. If you were building a factory, you would get the tools that work. It's not a matter of spending more or spending less. It is getting what works. And if you don't have the money to get Camtasia, save for it. If you've got to work harder to get it, if you've got to do some freelancing to get Camtasia or ScreenFlow, get it. It is a part of your marketing business, and you need to have it, and you need to not kind of flit around with this. When you need to do a video, you need to be able to put this video on your PC and do it. And then, with Camtasia, you can put it on another computer. You can work a production PC, and that's probably getting into more detail than you want. Point is, you need something that you're going to be able to create videos consistently, and it's going to work. So I'm saying you got to get Camtasia. You need hosting. Now, I'm going to tell you that probably the best decision I made when I started my marketing, it was at the point when I started my marketing, and it was almost by accident, is when I decided that I was going to buy hosting, and I just started paying $50 a month. Now, I know what you're thinking. Right? That's excessive. I don't need something that costs $50 a month. There's a lot of things I can do with $50 a month. You're right. Now, here's what happened. When I had that hosting and I got started creating products, I had it. Right? It was ready to go. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to figure out, if I was going to afford it. It was part of my budget. I just figured out how to start paying for it. And I'm not saying you have to start paying $50 a month for hosting. I'm saying that you need to have reliable hosting. If you need to get a virtual server, get one. They're not that expensive, and be ready so that when you buy something and you start creating things, you're ready. You don't have to fumble around with it. You must have reliable hosting. Designing a designer. Look, people buy packaging, and I haven't done the best at this. When I sold offline PLR, I wasn't the best at this in terms of packaging my product. Probably I've been better at this. I just sold even more. When I did get it, I sold more. And the fact of the matter is, people cannot visualize. They're not getting a physical product. Right? People are not buying physical products from you. They're buying digital products. So that means you've got to take the next step in helping them to be able to conceptualize what you're selling. And so you've got to have reliable, you've got to have good graphics. If you cannot design, figure out how to afford a designer. If you cannot afford a designer for your first product or service, or you can't take your PLR and turn it into something that looks good, then learn design. You do what you've got to do in order to put something together that looks like something that someone wants to buy. It's not a matter of, well, you know what, this product's supposed to work right out of the box. Probably does. But you want to make it unique. And the way you make it unique is you have good design. Remember, PLR, master resale rights, resale rights. It's raw material. It's fantastic. You can build an entire business around it. You've just got to understand that you've still got to build the factory, right? You still got to build the factory. And this goes way back. Some of you all have been involved in internet marketing any length of time. John Reese, who did Traffic Secrets back in 2007, he was way ahead of his time, and he talked about the content factory, how you build an internet marketing business. You've got to be able to take information into your business, turn it into something, figure out what people need it for, and then sell it to them in a way that it helps them to make their lives better. And you need a factory to do that. They're not going to buy it unless it looks like something they want to buy, and you need good design to do that. Now, it's unacceptable, and I have here coding or a coder. If you don't know any HTML, it's unacceptable for you to say that I don't know HTML. You either get somebody to do it, figure out how to afford somebody to do it, or learn some. And you need to learn some anyway. You need to learn just enough HTML to be dangerous. That's what I did. If you have to go to Google to do it, or just get a course. You probably have a PLR course on your hard drive right now. Learn it. Learn it. Learn what's going on behind those pages. Learn what's going on inside of the source code. If you're not doing that, more than likely, you are missing something that's going to help you to make money. And that's even if you got to tell somebody what to do. You need to know a little bit, guys. And so if you don't know anything, take 2 days this weekend and learn some HTML. It's not that hard. If you got to pay for it, pay for a course. This is what I'm talking about in terms of building your business. You need to take your capital your money, and you need to focus on these things that are going to help you to make money, and then come back and start buying the extra things. Then start trying out new methods and start trying out new ideas and new loopholes. But until you have these things I'm talking to you about, you should not have shiny object syndrome because you're not building a business. Right? If you don't have an autoresponder, I'm sorry, you're not building a business. If you're not doing video, not doing screencast video, and you don't have the standard in terms of software, you're probably not building the business. If you don't have reliable hosting, if you can't design products and services in a way that people want them, if you don't know what's going on behind computer code, you're not building a business. And so these are the things you need to have in place. You cannot avoid these things, even if someone else is going to do them for them. And I'm just going to say here, I'm throwing this in here. And I know there's Google Drives, and this is a preference, right? Not because I'm a Windows guy. But whatever it is, Microsoft Office to me is just it's $10 a month. You need to have it, right? You need to be able to put together presentations, documents, spreadsheets, all that stuff. And yeah, I understand Google Docs is free and Open Office is free. That's not the point. The point is, again, a reliable solution that's a standard. They're going to keep improving it. You're going to be able to use it so that it helps you, so that you eliminate any confusion. When you give people documents that they're going to be able to use in their business, they're likely going to have Microsoft Office. So even if you don't have it, they're going to expect that in their packages from you. Right? Microsoft Office, you can literally turn a document into a PDF just by a click of a mouse. And maybe you can do that with Google Docs and all the other stuff, but I'm telling you, stop trying to be cheap with this stuff, because the time that you spend looking for a workaround, the time that you spend in forums trying to figure out how to make the other stuff kind of work for you, it's time you should be spending marketing your business, right? It's time you should be spending marketing your business. That's why I'm saying build your business first, get the stuff you need, buy them, and it takes money. Photoshop. I know, there are other programs out there, and nowadays, you put something in a package because it appeals to people because, hey, I can do this with GIMP and I can do this with this program, that other program. Look, guys, I think Photoshop's $10 a month. Right? Or Creative Cloud is $30 a month. You just need to get it. And if you don't know how to use it, figure out how to use it. And if you need to hire somebody who knows how to do Photoshop, hire somebody to do Photoshop. You've got kids in your home, let them do Photoshop. It really doesn't matter how you do it. But Photoshop is kind of one of those things. Again, it's a standard. It's one of these things that you need to have. And buying loopholes, right? Buying these other things is not going to help you, because you're going to miss opportunities if you've got to hunt around and do. If you're reading tutorials on the night of your product launch because you don't have Photoshop, you're trying to figure out how to use GIMP, or you're trying to figure out in a forum how to use this autoresponder that you got cheap, or you're trying to figure out, well, how does Cam Studio do this like Camtasia? I'm telling you, this is the stuff that's holding you back. And it contributes to shiny object syndrome, right? Because you keep having to buy these solutions that aren't going to help you, and they impede your ability to do business. A webcam, gone are the days, and I know that you don't have to be on camera. I know that. And I personally, if I could do this, what I'm telling you right now, without being on camera, I would prefer to do that. But look, I want to be able to make a personal connection with you. And that is what is required in business. We have come full circle in internet marketing now. And so part of that full circle is you've got to be able to make a personal connection with people. And when you make that personal connection, they want to see your face. They want to see if you're for real, if you're a real person, if you really care about what you're talking about. And do you really know what you're talking about? So a webcam, if you're buying all these new, and again, I know all these things, you don't have to have them to make money. You don't have to have them to build a, I know that. But if you're building a business, right? You're trying to build something where when you get new PLR, or you see something and you get this raw material and you need to turn it into cash, you got to have these things, guys. You're just you're stumbling in the dark, buying, new softwares and all this other stuff. They're not going to help you, right? Not all the time. I'm not going to just come out and say, well, none of this stuff is going to help you. I'm saying that you have to have these basic things in your business, or the people that are working for you have to have them. And again, I could probably put all this stuff under hire somebody who knows how to do this stuff. If you've got enough money I think you can hire someone in the Philippines for $250 a month. If you've got $250 a month and you can kind of figure out where all these things go in your business to turn PLR into money, then certainly outsource what you can, right? But these are the minimum things that you need in your business, again, to turn PLR into business. So this has been step one. This is part one of this series on how to overcome shiny object syndrome. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to make sure to subscribe to this channel. I want you to make sure now then to share this video with the other folks who you know are involved in internet marketing, who could really benefit from hearing this information. And then I want you to put it into practice. Take the time, shut off the video, and then literally listen and take your own notes. Figure out what you've got to do in your business. If you haven't made a dime online and you've been and something always gets in your way, go through this checklist. Is this the stuff that's holding you back? If it is, start thinking about how to prioritize and budget so that you can buy these things and have them when you need them. Okay, so again, step one of how to overcome shiny object syndrome. I'm Charles Harper, and I will see you in the next video.